Hello YouTube, my name is Fag. Welcome to my channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And here we go. 24 boxes mac and cheese hacked. Wow, that's a lot of box mac and cheese hacks. By Babish Culinary Universe. And hey, right looking for mac and cheese now, huh? I just seen all the dog treats in the cars, sugar and gas tanks. There we go. Mac and cheese hacks.
Today I decided it would be kind of fun to play around with some Kraft mac and cheese. Now for me this is pretty nostalgic, and I grew up with a lot of different ways to upgrade it and make it my own and kind of feel like I was cooking at home.
And one thing you could do, right, is add a can of mushroom soup to it, and you mix it together, and make like a full casserole that way. Yep. Chop up hot dogs, put in there. Parmesan hamburger helper with ground beef. All kinds of things you do with mac and cheese.
I feel like this is one of those foods where everybody kind of has their own ways to jazz it up. With stuff they have at home, with stuff they, can make with their friends. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make this video was because there was a massive discount when you bought them in bulk. So here we are. Let's have some fun today, shall we? And just a heads up, all these upgrades and combinations were either from personal data banks or from scouring Reddit and the internet. So thank you for your ingenuity, your ideas, and hopefully you get to see some of your favorites come to life. Alright, first up, the Blake Lively. Now, according to the internet, she posted this on her Instagram story.
Blake Lively, okay. That's
She
a new
said
one.
that she really loves mac and cheese, but she doesn't really use the traditional box recipe. Instead, she adds a heavy splash of milk, a third a block of cream cheese, and 2 handfuls of freshly grated cheese, specifically some.
Wow, that's not really a hack, is it? That's just like standard homemade mac and cheese. You just make it cheaper for yourself. If you're not going to powder, just get a bag of edible macaroni noodles. Get more noodles that way if you're going to do it like this. Not like a standard mac and cheese though, is it?
Something sharp like a cheddar and a combination of a more milder cheese. Now, this one seems pretty fun. I do like the addition of cream cheese, so let's give it a try. We're going to prepare the box as usual, except in these cases I actually like to undercook the noodles by 3 minutes compared to what they recommend on the box. Usually they say 6 to 8. I go for 4 because I think by the time you're done you don't want them mushy. This helps them give a nice chew. So we're going to boil the water, pour the noodles in, cook them for 4 minutes, drain them, and just like Blake Lively says, I'm going to add in a heavy splash of milk, third a block of cream cheese, 2 handfuls of freshly.
He did use the powdered cheese. I thought they said not to use powder on that recipe. Oh well.
Grated cheese and mixed together. And the result is really, really nice. This looks luscious, this looks cheesy, this looks so appetizing compared to the normal box, even though there's nothing against that. And I think just by visuals alone, this is kind of those creamy mac and cheeses that if you like that kind of thing, this would definitely be your vibe. Almost like the thing you find at a side dish at like a fried chicken restaurant or something. All right, this is it, the Blake Lively mac and cheese hack. Let's give it a taste. Now this is really good. The cream cheese adds such a nice tang, and you get a lot more of that sharpness from the cheese, but it still tastes like that delicious box mac flavor that we love, just upgraded. Next up, brown butter mac and cheese. Now this is something that I personally wanted to.
Brown butter mac and cheese. That sounds good, don't it? I'm making myself hungry now.
Try. Usually when you make Kraft mac and cheese from the box, you add in butter and milk and all that good stuff, but I wanted to see if we can take up the flavor a little bit, because if there's butter, I usually try and brown it. So with the butter that they recommend, a couple tablespoons, I'm just going to brown that slowly. I think the key to browning butter is making sure that you do it and scrape off the bottom the whole time so none of those residue bits get burned, and I take it to the color of Guinness is what a pastry chef once taught me. Usually people, when they brown butter, they don't brown it all the way. I kind of like to take it to the edge where you're not sure if it's burnt, but the tricky thing is it can burn quite easily. So after taking it to a nice dark brown or burnt noisette color, I'm going to pour in the noodles that we cooked off to the side. These are the same traditional noodles from the box, just cooked for 4 minutes in the water, and I want to toast these noodles a little bit first to get those aromas going. And then I'm just going to add in the splash of milk and cheese powder as normal. So the only difference between this one and the normal box mac and cheese is the fact that we browned the butter first and we toasted the noodle. So let's see if this actually does make a difference.
I bet that's good.
Now, from both a color and an aroma point of view, this is is already clearly darker and more rich and just nuttier than the traditional one. And if you compare the taste, I would say the difference is pretty significant. You can immediately taste and smell the brown butter notes in it. And honestly, if you're just gonna make traditional boxed mac and cheese according to the package instructions and you have everything, I would say it's worth a little extra couple minutes to brown the butter, because this will take
That does sound like it came out good, doesn't it? Wow.
that to the next level, where it just takes off the edge of that typical boxed mac and cheese flavor and gives it a nice little upgrade without having to use any extra ingredients. Okay, next up, how about mac and
Okay. When we're adding cheese again to it, we got mozzarella and Gouda this time. Oh, we also got pickled breadcrumb. I guess it's gonna have a crunch to it.
cheese gratin. This is kind of just making a typical breadcrumb topped mac and cheese, but with Kraft instead. So to start this off, I'm going to take some fresh mozzarella, some cheddar, and some Gouda and cut those into little tiny cubes. Then we're going to cook the Kraft box according to normal instructions. Now when I say normal box instructions for these kinds of dishes, I actually omit the butter because there's a lot of cheese going into this, and I cook again for 4 minutes.
Right.
So once those cheese blocks gets mixed in and everything looks nice and cheesy and gooey, I'm going to spread this around into a small cast iron pan. And then off to the side, I'm going to melt just a pat of butter and mix in a handful of seasoned panko breadcrumbs. You could also use regular breadcrumbs, or honestly, if you have fresh breadcrumbs, that's great too. Mix that together, throw that on top for a nice little crispy topping, and that's going to go into the oven at about 450 degrees until it's nice and golden brown. Kind of a quicker way to dress up instant mac and cheese into something that's more commonly found on a dinner table in the middle of a party. This got some nice crunch on the top. It's got some nice chewy, cheesy goodness in the middle. This one is great. Crunch is there, the seasoning is there. It doesn't taste nearly as complex as if you made a complete.
It's all cheesy and stringy. Also got that crunch in the breadcrumb. I bet that's good.
Homemade mac and cheese with your own special seasoned breadcrumb mixture and spent a couple hours on it, but I will say it is enough to where you could probably fool the majority of people if you needed something quick to bring to a party that didn't look like instant Kraft box mac and cheese. Honestly, I probably would have cooked the noodles for 3 minutes in this case because there's a lot of time in the oven, but I don't think people are worried about al dente noodles and mac and cheese that much. Alright, let's move on to our next.
Okay. We got barbecue chicken mac and cheese. This one looks promising. We got a spring onion, a red onion, chicken, and honey barbecue sauce. Ooh. Sounds like it'll be like a chicken casserole type thing. Yeah.
Upgrade. Barbecue chicken mac and cheese. This one has a lot of the flavor components of barbecue chicken pizza, such as red onions, rotisserie chicken, some scallions, barbecue sauce, and cheese. So first up, I'm going to slice up these red onions, and then just to break the rawness of those red onions, I'm going to throw those into the hot noodles and kind of let them wilt just a little bit so they don't have that sharp red oniony taste. Then I'm going to add a splash of milk, a handful of rotisserie chicken or cooked chicken. You could probably use other meat if you really wanted to. So rotisserie chicken, the cheese powder, some barbecue sauce, and scallions. To be honest, I don't really have any measurements for these. These are all by eye, and I'm sure you could probably just adjust according to however you'd like to make. Because I don't know about you guys, I don't really measure things when making this kind of food at home. Give that a nice mix, and look at that. That's some nice looking barbecue chicken mac and cheese, giving it a smell and giving it a taste. It does actually taste like, well, those like California Pizza Kitchens barbecue chicken pizza. It's got all those flavor notes, signature of the red onion, the barbecue sauce, and the chicken and the cheese. And honestly, this is the most delicious one that I've had so far. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this and eating it off camera as we make all the other ones. I think.
Alright, he really likes this one here. The barbecue chicken one. Kind of that's his favorite so far, so cool.
Everything cancels out nicely. The sweetness, the tanginess, the cheesiness, the chicken. This is a knockout win. Now this upgrade, this is a personal mac and cheese recipe. This reminds me of.
Okay, you don't do the poor man hamburger helper thing here. Typically, you just use the hamburger in it, but since it's rich here, you got honey, soy sauce, and scallion. The average family's only gonna have ground beef and macaroni and cheese. We're not gonna have all this extra crap. Typically. But Mr. Richard Rich, you want the Richard Rich style, I guess.
Coming back home after a long day in 7th grade, finding mac and cheese in the pantry, and finding some leftovers my mom had in the fridge, and kind of combining it to pretend I was a chef. So, first I'm going to take some butter and sear up some of this ground beef. Now, it's a lot of ground beef, and I'm just going to set aside half of this because we're going to use the ground beef for later. And into this ground beef that we have remaining into the pan, I'm going to add a little bit of soy sauce and some honey to kind of almost give it that teriyaki-ish, soy flavor that I really enjoy, and it's really easy to make. And once that's all done, the beef is going to get removed. I'm going to deglaze that pan or pot with hot water and cook the noodles in that. That way we get as much flavor as we can. After the noodles are cooked, according to how we normally do it, I'm going to add in the ground beef, which has been glazed with soy and honey, some chopped scallions, and the cheese powder, milk, everything good. Give it a mix. This is comfort to me. This is nostalgia. This is one of my first attempts at trying to cook at home as a young kid, and it tastes delicious. Everything goes together. There's no real cohesive theme to it, but you put ground beef with soy and scallions and cheese together, it tastes like home, and it's really
yeah, rich home. Like I said, most people, most families are just gonna have the hamburger and mac and cheese. They're not gonna have what fancy stuff they put in there. Actually, yeah, you got these races on there, you definitely a rich boy. Nah. Give me mess with mac and cheese in.
really good. I didn't mess around as a kid. All right, the next upgrade, we're gonna go ahead and make taco mac and cheese. Some cheddar, ground beef, jarred salsa, lime juice, and some paprika. So, I got some cheddar that I'm gonna grate. After that,
There's another hamburger helper version, right? So you can get taco hamburger helper version. It's just another one of those. They're trying to make the hamburger helper like homemade style, I guess.
Done. I'm gonna go ahead and make the craft box like normal. I'm gonna add in the ground beef that we had from earlier, some salsa from the jar, that grated cheddar, the cheese powder, and a little bit of lime juice. And for seasoning, I thought we had taco seasoning, but we actually didn't. So I'm gonna use some smoked paprika because that's kind of similar. It has a nice smoky flavor, and I like that. So that's gonna go in too. Give it a nice mix. Put it in a bowl, top with a little bit more paprika, and yeah, that's taco-ish mac and cheese, I guess. Has a little bit of those flavors. And I think the jarred salsa and the ground beef really take this to the next level and go really, really well with the cheesy flavors of the box.
I'm sorry, that one doesn't sound good. Now with that sauce in there, it doesn't sound good to me.
Solid all the way through. Pretty quick considering that a lot of the stuff probably came from the supermarket. Ready to go. All right, up next is a cake.
I thought you liked this little jacket. Look at that. They got squishy white stain down below here. I don't trust that stain he's got there.
Style mac and cheese. This one we got some sausages, red onions, garlic, and scallions. First, I'm gonna cut up those sausages. I'm gonna slice up the red onion, slice up the garlic, slice up some scallions, and over to the stove we go. It goes a little bit pat of butter. First, I'm gonna cook off the garlic until it starts.
Now I see it, I can't unsee it. It's right there, right in my face the whole time. Ah!
Let's get a little bit brown around the edges. Then I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking the onions until there's a little bit of color on those as well. And then those go into some cooked Kraft noodles. While that hangs out on the side, I'm gonna sear the sausage to make sure that we get some nice color and get the fat and juices out of it. Those are gonna get tossed into the noodles. And instead of putting the milk directly into the mac and cheese, I'm just gonna deglaze this nice, delicious pan with the milk first and then pour that in. Then we're gonna combine everything else with the powder as normal. Also add in a little bit of Old Bay for that Cajun-esque flavor. And then yeah, that's our Cajun-style mac and cheese with the sausage and onions and all the good stuff and aromatics in there. This one is delicious. It's hearty, it's flavorful.
It's almost like a jambalaya, doesn't it? Almost.
If you wanted to add extra Cajun seasoning, I'm sure that could work too.
Hey! Why'd you tease me? We are watching mac and cheese. Trying to make the video extra cheesy.
But I feel like the flavors that we have going on already are great. Yeah. Alright, up next is a cacio e pepe style mac and cheese. I apologize to the Italians watching, but sometimes you just kind of want those flavors and you might not have that much time. We're going to create the box mac just as normal, but instead I'm going to use half of the cheese packet. I'm going to grate some fresh pecorino romano cheese in there, some good handfuls of that, as well as some healthy cranks of black pepper. And mix this all together, and as a hybrid between instant mac and cheese and cacio e pepe, it's pretty good. It does the trick if you want those nice cheesy peppery flavors, but it doesn't require all the fuss of necessarily having everything and all the ingredients to make the whole thing.
I don't like pepper on my mac and cheese. Do you guys like pepper for your mac and cheese? To me, I just try to be, I don't know, a little too extra. I'm not a big fan of pepper though anyway, so.
I think this is a nice little upgrade that could just be used with some extra cheese, because chances are you probably have black pepper lying around. Okay, next up, more of a greener, more vegetable-y, but not.
Okay, now you're gonna make a pesto mac and cheese. You already got pesto sauce here, if you want to add some milk to it. Butter, okay. Ah, thank you.
Not necessarily healthier version, pesto mac and cheese. I thought that having things like cherry tomatoes and pesto would be a nice contrast to the cheesiness of the mac and cheese, so this one's pretty simple. Cut the cherry tomatoes in half, throw those into the noodles, mix them around until those cherry tomatoes get a little bit warm, but not mushy. Add in the cheese powder,
Okay.
a good healthy spoonful or two of the pesto, and just mix it up. And yeah, everything works together nice. I can't see why any of this would not go with each other, and it's just a nice little way to jazz up your mac and cheese if you have some vegetables and a little half-eaten jar of pesto in your fridge, because it works. All right, the next one, pizza mac and cheese. This one's a little bit more fun and a little bit more involved with some.
You're not entertained? Look at pizza mac and cheese now. Okay, okay. About like a pizza casserole, maybe. Hmm? I mean, I make something similar to this, but put it inside the oven. I call it like a pizza casserole. I also make a mean tater tot casserole, too. I make two versions. One with a tomato type sauce, like a spaghetti sauce almost, and then one with a mushroom based cream sauce. I think you guys would like it.
Dry mozz, kind of chopped up into little cubes. Take some of this pepperoni, chop those up into little pieces, and then into our craft box that we prepared normally, and mix all those things in along with a little glug of marinara sauce. Once that's all mixed together, you could technically eat this as is. It's pizza mac and cheese already, but we're gonna take this a step further. We're gonna pour this mixture into a steel pan, spread it flat, top this with a little bit of marinara sauce all over, top with a little bit more fresh mozz, and a lot of pepperoni. I've learned to cover the entire surface area, whatever you're baking, with pepperoni because they're gonna shrink. This is gonna go into the oven at 400 degrees. But even though this looks like one of those like crazy internet food creations we do for the sake of doing it, which it technically is, this one is actually really, really good. I was shocked by how good this was. There's a lot of depth of flavor. It tastes like pizza. It actually was really good that it was claimed immediately as leftovers. Yeah, that's a winner too. All right, this next one for a little bit more something substantial and
Broccoli cheddar chicken. Okay. Let's see where this goes,
somewhat
shall we?
balanced. Broccoli cheddar chicken, which I definitely saw a lot of people making at home.
Now you're making a chicken hooper instead of a hamburger hooper. Okay, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Online. So, first we're going to chop up some frozen broccoli florets into little pieces. Gonna grate some fresh cheddar. We have this rotisserie chicken here. I mean, this one's pretty simple. You kind of take these things, prepare the craft box as normal, and throw all those things in with the sour cream, the milk, and the cheese powder, and you just give it a big old mix, and out comes a somewhat more substantial and balanced meal. You have some extra vegetables and protein in there, and because broccoli and cheddar is a pretty classic combination, this tastes really good, and along with the tanginess,
yeah, it's just like a chicken hooper right there.
the sour cream delight, I can see this being something that you might want to.
I guess they just showing how to make it at home instead of just buying a pre-made box, I guess.
Make on a more consistent basis. That would work well in almost any situation. You could probably even throw more cheddar and broil it in the oven if you really wanted to. All right, on to the next one, which again was commented by a lot.
Tuna and peas. You're gonna make a tuna casserole. That's what we're gonna make now. But really, who likes peas inside their tuna? Like, come on, guys. I like tuna sandwiches and stuff. I'm about peas in it.
A lot of people, especially on Reddit, that seem to just love making this at home. Just tuna and peas mac and cheese. Very easy. You got your craft box, you got your canned tuna, you got frozen peas at home. You could just throw this together. Nothing too crazy about it. Make the box as normal. Add in the drained, important, can of tuna and some frozen peas. Stir it up until it's all nice and good. And yeah, this is again substantial. The saltiness and the fishiness of the tuna gets counteracted by the cheese, and the peas kind of help break through that with their own green little bubbles of pea stuff. Not necessarily my favorite one compared to the other ones, but definitely something that would work in a pinch and can probably be a staple if you just had these things lying around and didn't want to, spend too much money making food. All right, next up, some bacon egg mac and cheese. Heavy emphasis
Bacon, egg, and mac and cheese. Never heard of it. I was at your breakfast eating bowl, but huh.
On
Interesting.
the bacon here. All right, first we're gonna cut our egg. We're gonna cut our bacon into little chunks. I'm gonna crisp it up in a pan until we have nice crispy bits and some bacon fat. Toss our bacon into the pot of cooked Kraft noodles and definitely set aside some of that grease. We don't need all of it, and cook the egg in the remaining bacon fat. What's great about this one is that instead of butter, you can use bacon fat instead to flavor your mac and cheese. Once the egg is a nice sunny side up, mix those things up as normal. And yes, once again,
You know what that kind of looks like? You ever seen Jamie Oliver trying to make fried rice? That's what this reminds me of right now. It's like, what if Jamie Oliver tried making mac and cheese? That's kind of vibes I'm getting.
we are going to add scallions. One thing I've learned is just like in ramen of any form, scallions tend to go really well with mac and cheese, both in color, flavor, and texture. Okay, the egg goes on top. I'm gonna top this with scallions, crack some black pepper, and this is our beautiful bacon egg mac and cheese. Go ahead and pop that egg yolk, because that is the rule. Spread that over, get a nice bite. Yeah, this is delicious. Bacon, funny as it is, cuts through the mac and cheese with its smoky and saltiness, although not necessarily in health. But this one is a winner. Yeah, I'll just let Tony take this one because he really likes this one. I wouldn't eat this for breakfast, but it does taste really good. All right, buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
Okay, this one I will not eat. I don't handle spice very well, and buffalo sauce is a hot sauce. So, might eat spice heads, here you
This
go.
one is something that Steve actually likes to make a lot, he said. Pretty simple, rotisserie chicken, hot sauce, got some cream cheese. Yeah, we're just gonna take all these ingredients, prepare a Kraft box according to normal packaging instructions,
that's better.
which is
How's it
-3
going?
minutes on the cook timer for the noodles, and just mix everything in and give it a bite. The tanginess and the spiciness from the hot sauce counteracts a lot of the stuff. The cream cheese has a nice little body to it, and this one it tastes exactly like what it sounds like, and it is good. I'll give this one to Steve. He wants this one. Saves him a step at home. All right, now this is the one that I've been
Okay, steak and onions. You're gonna up the hamburger game to a steak version of it. Yeah, every time you've got some money, can't you?
really excited for. This one is a steak and caramelized onion mac and cheese. So here,
Does anybody who's doing this with mac and cheese are not the richest people in the world? You know what I mean? They're trying to make something that's filling, easy to make, that will satisfy their family quick and easily, cheaply. You know what I mean?
we got some red onions that we're going to slice up really thinly. And I have over here some boneless short rib. I'm going to take these and cut these into little chunks and make sure that they get a nice sear in the pan with a little bit of butter before they're taken off to the side with some black pepper. I like short rib because it's very versatile. You can overcook it and you can cook it medium rare and it'll still be delicious because it's one of those cuts where even though if you get it well done and past well done, it'll either braise and break down or it'll still be nice, somewhat chewy and flavorful, which I think is really good for applications like these where you don't necessarily know what kind of meat you want to use. So in the same pan that we cooked the beef, we're going to sear the onions and get a nice color on it using up those remaining beef juices and fat. And then just to add a little bit of acidity, I'm going to add some splashes of honey and vinegar to make sure we have a nice acidic component that will go with our cheese and our steak. And yeah, after we combine the onions into our typical Kraft box mix, I'm actually going to not throw the steak inside, although I'm sure you could, but just for presentations and texture's sake, I'm actually going to plate the steak on half of it on top of the bowl. And this is a black pepper short rib and caramelized red onion mac and cheese. Definitely a little bit on the fancier side. The steak probably
I gore, a little bit fancy, a little bit fancy. Boy, that's a whole lot of fancy. Get that off here.
costs way more than the box and everything else combined, but it is one of those things where, you know, you want to get some luxury on the quick. This one undoubtedly tastes really good. Those nice, juicy, fatty short rib chunks go really well with the cheese, and the onions are such.
Yeah, like I said, anybody who's doing this mac and cheese is looking for a quick, easy meal for a family, and that's it. Probably has kids, something like that too, right? Real picky eaters. Want to eat even mac and cheese? Throw stuff in it, and voila. If the hamburger type food I'll eat quickly, or eat a lot of.
Such a nice welcome bite with the vinegar, the onion flavor, and a little bit of sweetness from the honey. This one's an all-around winner. I personally had to fight a little bit to make sure I could get some extra bites in before everybody else took this one down. That one's a winner. All right, now something that I personally done.
Okay, making a chili mac and cheese now. That's interesting.
A few times at home. This next one is chili crisp mac and cheese, or laogan or laogan mac and cheese. First up, I'm gonna slice up this garlic and scallions, going hard with the aromatics on this one, because again, in Chinese cuisine, garlic and scallions are very, very, very prevalent. This one is all about the aromatics. Once our garlic and our scallions have been nice and prepared into a pot, I'm gonna heat up some chili oil and cook the garlic in it directly, so that way we get some nice flavors going on in the pot before anything else starts. And before the
Yeah, they're using like Oriental chili oil. That's gonna be spicy. Yeah, I want to handle this one either. They can keep that
garlic
one.
starts to get brown, I'm gonna throw in the scallion whites, making sure that they cook down a little bit because they are a little bit sharper than the greens. Then into this mixture, I'm going to deglaze with some black vinegar, Chinese black vinegar, and honey to add some sweetness. Then I'm gonna throw in the cooked Kraft noodles we had set aside. Then everything else kind of goes in typically as normal. The milk, the splash, the cheese powder, the scallion greens, mix that up. A little bit more chili crisp in there because why not? And we're gonna plate this up. And you know what? Just gonna put a little bit more chili crisp on top as well because it's really hard to not be really addicted to this stuff. And this one is the laogan mac and cheese. One thing I've actually seen served at restaurants, although probably not the instant box version. And this one is, not surprisingly to me, but maybe to other people, very good. So much flavor coming from the chili oil combining with the cheese, as well as the garlic and the scallions. Kind of has all those strong, allium flavors melding really well with the cheesy, mellow flavors with the mac and cheese. This one is a winner, especially if you have any people that really like chili crisp. That's one way to get them really excited. And the color is beautiful from the chili oil as well. Okay, this next one I kind of thought would be fun to try to play around with because I've seen people make French onion soup dip, but I thought, what if you just threw that in mac and cheese instead and make French onion mac and cheese? Because technically a French onion soup also has cheese in it. So, into our typically prepared Kraft box, I'm going to throw in a packet of the soup mix, a good couple of spoonfuls of sour cream, and mix in everything normally. And just for some extra cheesy flavor, I'm going to grate in some Gruyere cheese right at the end.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Gore, right? He's making it too fancy. Like I said, people who are doing this with mac and cheese typically have kids that can't afford a hamburger helper. You know what I mean? Just want to add variety to a kid's diet, though. Ain't enough for my mac and cheese, really. You can tell he's rich. Look at all that jewelry he's wearing. Yeah, I know. It's just like stepped up hamburger helper variants, really.
Kind of emulate what you would have in a French onion soup with the cheese on top. Yeah, this one tastes oniony, cheesy. It's one easy way to get that onion flavor into your mac and cheese without having to cut up any, especially if you have a packet of lying around. It's really good. Probably even use bread if you really wanted those extra carbs, but this tastes good enough on its own. In the same vein of using pre-packaged products.
Okay, now this I've done. Without the onion, though. All right. You take your mac and cheese, you boil it, but instead of adding milk to it, we add cheese powder, mix it into the can of cream mushroom soup. You like a pseudo casserole. Really good. Really, really good. Right. Really, Graham, ever tried that before? Not surprising, a lot of people don't think about stuff like that, but when you grow up poor, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I mean?
That you probably have in the pantry. Cream of mushroom was another one that I saw on the internet. I think this was on Reddit. So first we're going to chop up some onions, saute them in a little bit of butter to get some nice sauteed onions for some extra oomph. The cream of onion soup comes out from the can in a nice satisfying few glops. Go in with our sauteed onions, mix in with the milk and the cheese powder, and even though this is a little bit on the saltier side, I still say this is a really nice...
See, when I made it though, I didn't have onions, right? You can get those cans of condensed soup like 50 cents or $2 for $1 sometimes. Box mac and cheese for 33 cents. No, quick, easy meal. Really is all it is. Especially if you're on a tight budget.
This way to get the mushroom flavor in and jazz up both instant products into one not instant product, technically, because 1 + 1 = square in this scenario. All right, this next one is taking a note out of Andrew's book. We're gonna do some hot dog stuff. This one is chili dog mac. I'm gonna take these packet of hot dogs, chop them up.
Wait, that's not surprising, because they make chewy mac anyway, right? Then you got your hot dog and macaroni, so it's fairly common right here.
And Tony actually
You just add an extra cheese to it with that block of
brought
cheese.
in a amazing rotating cheese grater, which blew my mind compared to the traditional box method, because all you got to do is push it down and rotate it, and all the force you're applying actually gets used efficiently in the right way. I love this thing. After the cheese is grated, I'm gonna give those hot dogs a nice sear, mix in the chili, the hot dogs, the cheddar, and, well, you know me, some scallions into the prepared mac and cheese box. Add a splash of milk, some more cheddar, mix that in until it's nice and delicious looking, and more cheese and scallions on top, just for some color. So now it actually looks like good chili. And the flavors, I think you can imagine, it goes pretty well together. Once again, taking two packaged instant products, ready to go into one beautiful new thing. Jazz it up with some scallions, hot dogs, and cheese, and you got a whole dish. Definitely a party pleaser for sure. Not surprised that this ended up on, or is already on, like TGI Fridays menus. Okay, now we're just having fun here.
Chicken bacon ranch. Okay, he's going a little far now, but yeah, I make this with like a bow tie pasta in a baking dish, right? I'll make my own ranch sauce with the Hidden Valley seasoning pack. Uh, I use actual chicken instead of chicken nuggets though. And bacon's kind of expensive, so sometimes I'll swap out bacon bits. But if I got bacon, I'll definitely crisp up some bacon.
Making chicken bacon ranch mac and cheese. As you can see, I got some frozen chicken nuggets here. You probably use dino nuggets because that's what I grew up with at home. I chop those up, toast them into a pan until they're nice and golden brown all around. I'm gonna prepare the box of mac and cheese as normal. And instead of just mixing everything up, which I'm sure would be delicious, I'm just gonna layer these things. First goes in the mac, followed by a sprinkle of chicken nuggets. That's a funny sentence to say. Followed by some bacon, which has already been cooked, crisped up, and chopped up, and a drizzle of ranch. Not too heavy, and it sounds insane, but I'm curious to how this will turn out, because chicken bacon ranch, for some reason, it works like a charm. I'm gonna repeat that layer one more time with the mac and cheese, the remaining chicken nuggets, the bacon, a little topping of ranch, which again sounds very funny as a sentence. And this is gonna go into the oven at 400 until it's nice and brown and bubbly. Top this with a few scallions and let's dig in. Now, you might be a little hesitant, and I was too. I was a little apprehensive on the fact that it might taste just like too much and weird, but this was shockingly delicious. Everything went together so well. This is one of those things where you take it, your eyes goes wide, and instead of just saying words, you start clapping and pointing at it and nodding your head. Yeah, this was a certified banger for sure.
Chicken bacon ranch, so
not good for your health by any means. This is very, very, very good. Probably one of the best ones we made yet. I think baking it also added a nice little crunch and caramelization to whatever the heck touched the pan, so it wasn't all this gloppy ranch bacony mess. This is a winner. Okay, we're gonna go for another direction here. Let's go for...
Oh no, you gotta put kimchi and spam in there. Ugh. Spam I can see, but kimchi, ugh. I don't like kimchi, I just read. And I can't even pretend to pronounce that word.
For spam kimchi mac and cheese. Kimchi mac and cheese has definitely been popular in the restaurant world.
I don't know, but he never do the mac and cheese game.
It goes well on so many menus, considering the fact that a lot of the flavors from kimchi and gochujang in Korean cuisine goes well with cheese and is commonly served with cheese in Korea and in Korean restaurants. So this one just makes sense. I'm gonna chop up some spam, fry those up with some scallion white.
So he's mixing Hawaiian and Asian together. That's an interesting combo. You got kimchi, you got galangan. I know I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. And spam, which is really Hawaii's specialty, spam is. So, and then mac and cheese. That does not sound appetizing to me. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm gonna watch that one of these days. So don't spoil that for me, okay?
We've again chopped up to get some flavor going. Take this kimchi, throw that in and saute it so those nice raw flavors kind of get cooked out a little bit. It becomes a little bit more mellow. I'm gonna dump that into our cooked noodles from our boxed mac and cheese. And I'm gonna deglaze the pan really quickly with the milk. Pour that into our noodles, then add in the gochujang and cheese powder along with scallion greens. Once everything's all mixed together, yeah, this is some nice kimchi spam mac and cheese. Color-wise, flavor-wise, everything makes sense. It goes together well. I can see why this is quite popular at restaurants. This one is a winner as well. Almost gives the same vibe of adding American cheese to shin ramen or something like that. Both have the spiciness and fermented flavor from the kimchi going well with the cheese. So yeah, this one's a good one. Almost in a way kind of tastes like budae-jjigae or Korean army stew, which also has like ramen noodles, spice, spam, and American cheese, and scallions. Maybe that's just one of the
Sounds just like a hodgepodge of stuff thrown together, really. A whole bunch of leftovers. Now you kind of mix them all together, just get rid of it. That's what it sounds like you just made.
formulas for good food. Alright, clearly you've seen me use too many scallions at this point, so I'd say why not, let's just go ahead and make a scallion
Okay, just scallions and mac and cheese. Basically an onion mac and cheese. Yeah, okay.
lover mac and cheese. I've actually had this idea in my head for a while based on some stuff I do at home. So we have a lot of scallions here and a good amount of garlic as well. So what I'm going to do is cut these scallions up roughly, not into slices, but more like chunks and stalks. For this method, they don't need to be precise. So first, I'm going to blanch all these scallions in boiling water for about half a minute or so. I don't want them to turn dark like gray green.
You wilt, scallion wilt. Oh, I just tried doing Uncle Roger impression. I know it sucked, didn't it?
Or yellow green. I want them to still be bright. So once they take out, I'm going to put it.
Yeah, no, he's mixing, some of these mixed in real cheese with the powder cheese. And on one of them, it said the recipe said to not use the powder cheese, but he still put in there anyway. Emotional damage.
In our garlic,
That's really my childhood for me. I grew up on mac and cheese, so.
which has not been blanched. And then I'm going to season this with a good pinch of salt and a little bit of sugar and immersion blend this. This is actually a sauce and a condiment that I keep at home almost all the time. It's like a scallion garlic puree that actually my friend Eric from 886 in Wenwen taught me. He kind of uses this as a condiment for his restaurant in a different version and recipe, and I took inspiration from that and use this as kind of like a nice flavor addition sauce at home. Got this nice beautiful green color. I think he roasts his, but I think the nice helps maintain that green color. And once this is all blended together, you have a nice delicious scallion garlic puree. Now this is going to go directly into our prepared box of Kraft mac and cheese, along with our cheese powder. And if you really like scallions, you're gonna like this one a lot. If you don't like scallions, you probably won't want to eat this one. But since I like scallions, I think this one is really delicious. There's a lot of that bite to it, and it really goes well together because you have the cheese and the milk, and you have the scallions. That's just a good time. Okay, now we've gotten to the point where we've made a lot of mac and cheeses, and we have leftovers. And this is actually the Blake Lively one that we made from earlier. It was left over and it's in the fridge, and well, what do you do, right, if you can't finish mac and cheese? Well, one thing I found that you can do, you can turn it into grilled cheese, because the mac and cheese already has so much soft, starch and milk and cheese inside of it that it's a natural conveyor belt to turn it into something more delicious. So 2 nice slices of sourdough are gonna go down, and I got some pieces of sharp cheddar that we have slices of. I'm gonna lay that down on the bread. I'm gonna take out the mac and cheese and use it as almost like a spread, sandwiching that on top of the 2 slices of cheese and putting the remaining 2 slices of cheese over that and finishing off with the bread. Now this is gonna go into a pan with a little bit of butter and sear.
Oh my god, a doctor just told me, what the hell is this monstrosity I'm looking at? Oh my god, what is that? I'm sorry, my doctor just called me, guys. They had to reschedule my appointment. So, yeah, sorry about that. But what in the world is this monstrosity? I'm gonna back this up. I gotta see what he did to this. Besides the green mac and cheese, that looks nasty, doesn't it? Grilled mac and cheese. Okay. Let's see this. You better not ruin the grilled cheese, little. I love grilled cheese. Grilled cheese is grilled cheese for a reason. Then look how you have the right bread down there. It's all fancy looking.
Scallions. That's just a good time. Okay.
Now look at that. They got fancy round bread. the actual bread you use. This ain't gonna come out right, I don't think. But at least you got the right cheese. You know what I mean? I do put mac and cheese on top of it. No, okay. Mr. Fancy Pants Rich Boy, I guess.
Okay, now we've gotten to the point where we've made a lot of mac and cheeses, and we have leftovers. And this is actually the Blake Lively one that we made from earlier. It was left over, and it's in the fridge, and well, what do you do, right, if you can't finish mac and cheese? Well, one thing I found that you can do, you can turn it into grilled cheese, because the mac and cheese already has so much soft, starch and milk and cheese inside of it, that it's a natural conveyor belt to turn it into something more delicious. So, 2 nice slices of sourdough, I'm gonna go down, and
You don't use sourdough for grilled cheese. Use regular white bread, people. I really like white bread. Use regular wheat bread. You don't need sourdough. Oh, this hurts my heart. Oh. Oh. Knew I remember grilled cheese as a kid. There's either regular white or wheat bread with a slice of cheese that was melted to perfection and toasted in an open pan.
I got some pieces of, sharp cheddar that we have slices of. I'm gonna lay that down on the bread. I'm gonna take out the mac and cheese and use it as almost like a spread. Sandwiching that on top of the 2 slices of cheese and putting the remaining 2 slices of cheese over that and finishing off with the bread. Now this is gonna go into a pan with a little bit of butter and sear for about 5 to 7 minutes on low heat with a lid is what I've learned for thicker grilled cheese to try to get everything warmed through. Let's give that a flip. Wow, that is a nice crust. I like.
Yeah, but look, nothing's melted. Yeah, your thing is all nice and crusty, but there's nothing melted inside there. You got that cold and solid mac and cheese right in the middle. They ain't gonna hold together.
That crust. That's a nice crust.
Oh, more butter, huh?
Let the other side go for another 5 to 7 minutes. And ta-da! Grilled mac and cheese. This is, let's give this a cross section. Some nice crunching. There it is. I'm sure you could use as many other cheeses as you want that would probably melt.
Yeah, see, look, that was falling apart. You see that? He tried to hide it, but look, it tried to fall apart as soon as he cut it. Then he cut the video to this. You just see him stuff it back together. Ain't no way that worked. Ain't no way.
Melt a little bit better. But from a flavor point of view, this is good. Tony really liked this one. I was a little too full, to be honest, to eat more at this point, so Tony had to take one for the team, and he gladly did and will do again for this sandwich. Crispy, crusty, was sneaking bites of it as we were shooting the other ones. This one's a winner. Alright, in the theme of leftovers, we do have a lot of ingredients left over from all those other ones we did. We have a lot of meat. We're gonna call this
Let's actually make another pizza one.
the Meat Lover Supreme Mac and Cheese, using up as many leftovers as we can. Chop up the remaining amount of Spam, chop up the sausage, chop up the pepperoni, and I threw in some mushrooms and onions to make sure that we have something to add some bulk and to counteract the flavors of all this meat and cheese we're about to throw in. We're gonna grate up all the random blocks of leftover cheese from the chute in Tony's grater, as well as the random ones we've.
I was thinking, I had to try a Culinary grater. Look at that thing. You imagine trying to clean that thing? Trying to clean a nugget buster's bad enough, but look at that thing. Woo.
Found in the fridge that we could use. Once that's all done, I'm gonna take 2 pans this time. I'm gonna brown the meats, trying to get those fats and oils and juices all seared up nice and deliciously. And in one pan, after the meats are done, I'm gonna throw in the mushrooms. And in the other pan, I'm gonna throw in the onion and cook these individually until they are nice and delicious. And once they are all good and really browned up, I'm gonna go into this one glorious meat, mushroom, onion mixture. And then we're gonna cook 2 boxes of instant mac and cheese according to normal instructions, and we're gonna throw in all of the grated cheese we had from earlier, along with the leftover sour cream, a heavy splash of milk, and all of that delicious, glorious, browned up meat, mushroom, onion mixture until we have this deliciousness. And then finally a heavy dose of scallion whites, which will hopefully help fight back all that intense flavor from everything else. Give it a nice big mix. This is our Meat Lover Supreme Deluxe leftover everything cheese, meat, cream, onion, mushroom, mac and cheese. And yeah.
Okay, just the hot pond of stuff we call it Supreme. I mean, really. My way to say is throw whatever into the pot. Don't for the best, right?
This one was.
I'm sorry, after that mac and cheese, I had a little respect left for this guy. He broke my heart with that mac and cheese. He really did.
Very, 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 very good. I may or may not have claimed most of this to take home by myself. This was a fun one. I learned a lot about mac and cheese, and I would say one of the biggest takeaways is that it is nice to have scallions in the fridge when making anything at home because one, they go really, really well with mac and cheese, and two, this box is a lot more versatile than I thought. I would say that you can almost add in anything you want, and the cheese and the noodles kind of become this bed for almost any kind of seasoning and flavor that you want to infuse. You might be wondering, you guys didn't finish all of that, did you? There's no way you could have eaten every single thing. And you're right, we didn't. After every finished recipe, we immediately placed it into a takeout container, and Tony was kind enough to label all of them. These are all of our leftovers. These are some of the ones that
Leftover, that looks like a bunch of waste, really. I mean, all that is just, I guess, a gourmet version of Hamburger Helper. That's technically why he made this whole video, instead of that ridiculous mac and cheese sandwich. Ugh. Still bitter about that grilled cheese sandwich you made. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Go give it to the homeless, right? Let them have some fancy stuff for a change.
I feel like really stood out to me in flavor and just creativeness and how much I'd want to eat it again and how much I was shocked at how good they were. And don't worry, Tony's going to take home a lot, and I'm going to make sure that these mac and cheeses find a nice home at some of the restaurants that I like going to. Their staff are probably...
Oh, they don't give it to restaurants, not the homeless. That's not really donating it. They're going to serve it to customers like that. How much you want to bet? He did all that for his restaurant just so he can serve it to customers. I really have no respect for this guy.
very hungry, and I'm sure they could probably use this as part of their staff meal. So these will all be going to the right people. There's probably
Staff
so many
knows
other
my
combinations that people like to do that I haven't even touched. And I'm sure you have your own favorite combinations as well that you like to do at home, whether it's a variation of these, whether it's a new one. The ingenuity that I've found on the internet for people who like to make boxed mac and cheese knows no bounds. So I hope this inspires you to play around with your whatever you got lying around at home, and hopefully find other ways to enjoy this nice little blue box.
Okay. Those were not hacks. It's just 24 box mac and cheese hacks. All he did was make fancy, super fancy hamburger helpers is all he made today. And a god awful grilled cheese sandwich. That broke my heart. He ruined my childhood. I don't think there can be another grilled cheese sandwich in the world as bad as one he made. Although, according to my chat, there is one that's worse. I'm not gonna watch that today. My heart can't handle another bad grilled cheese. So, yeah. That was by the Babish Culinary Universe. Yeah. Damn it.